Welcome back everyone, it's Charlie. This will be my full Fallout Season 2 Episode 7 video. There were a whole bunch of WTF moments, Easter eggs from the games, so we'll break it all down. You could definitely tell how close to the end of the season we're getting because of how messed up things are getting for all the different characters in their different storylines. The episode was titled The Handoff, which is a reference to a couple of different big handoffs that happened in the episode. Cooper in the flashbacks handing cold fusion to the US president at the time before the bombs went off, played by Clancy Brown, another big cameo scene. He's meant to be Enclave. We'll get to that in a second too, I think confirming that Welch is also Enclave. We will also dig into her big reveal from the end of the episode too, another big Enclave reveal. Clancy Brown is also a big deal because he previously played Rhombus during the Fallout games, so it's another example of a video game actor or someone acting in the video games then coming back in the live-action TV series. Handoff in present day where Maximus hands off cold fusion to Cooper so that he can hand it off to Mr. House in present day so he can use all of his technology and weapons to help them. And in Vault 33 and Vault 32, Betty giving Hank's keepsake box to Steph, handing it off to her in exchange for 50% of their water. Winds up being a real big Steph episode too. The episode opens in Steph's PTSD flashback to show her origin story and how she wound up being Canadian and then inside Vault 32. We see her and her mother as another big cameo scene. It's Natasha Henstridge, this is why she probably looked familiar, are escaping Uranium City, Canada, to explain why a Canadian then wound up here in Vault 32. She's over 200 years old. This is the resource wars that we're seeing in the past before the bombs went off, because they say she escaped from an internment camp. The resource wars are something that happened in Fallout across the entire world before cold fusion was found. The idea is that cold fusion might have been the solution to that, but the Enclave wound up getting its hands on it and has its own plans for it to dominate the world. Her mother dies, telling her to get to America and survive any way she can, and she vows to do whatever it takes, kill whoever it takes, lie, do whatever she needs to do to survive. Basically to explain why Steph has been so hardcore this whole time. She takes out a random man to get his can of beans, then kills the border agent, then find out eventually later she winds up working in Las Vegas at the Lucky 38, running into Cooper, and uses the opportunity to try and find a way to get inside Vault Tech, get a job at Vault Tech so that she can wind up inside a vault, and he gives her the idea to ask Hank, or the young version of Hank, explaining how she got a job at Vault Tech, convinced Hank to get her a job there, and used her ferocity, her just sheer tenacity to dominate all the other workers there. Betty even says in the flashbacks when they were younger together, "We were all afraid of you at the time, Steph," but then over the course of this 200 years after Betty came out and started aging up, she started learning all of Steph's secrets, which is what she revealed to her later, like, "I learned a couple things about you after I came out of cryo in Vault 31. So the whole idea is this is meant to show you through the episode, through all the different flashbacks, how Steph wound up in Vault 31 as part of Vault Tech, and then how she wound up lording over Vault 32. Because it was all part of Bud's plan. She was basically lying to all of them the whole time, just trying to survive along the way here. So probably the bigger reveal with Steph's character and the reason why she's doing all these crazy things and hyping up this civil war between Vault 32 and Vault 33 is all because she just wants to survive. She doesn't care about any of Vault Tech's greater plans that they had before the war about ruling the world. She just wants to survive. That's all she cares about. Then this time the custom Fallout title is the Canadian theme song, "Oh Canada," and the red filling up the white letters is blood. We go back to present day, and Hank's chipped up employees are all constructing more mind control chips. Lucy clocks his control button and starts to formulate her plan how to shut it all down. When he says perfect is the enemy of good, the whole idea is that even though what he's doing isn't great, he's like trying to explain this isn't the best situation, but it's a massive improvement from what things were like before, meaning that it is good enough. Then I love the way that Lucy gets him to explain all these different, like the way they montage all the different plans, where Hank is basically giving her all the ideas and plans that she needs to take him down, all because he is so supremely overconfident. He basically gives her everything she needs, all the different plans here, how to work around all of his systems, how to take it all down.
Well, we have to destroy the mainframe which programs the boxes, and that's in the basement.
How do I get there?
It's a bit of a hike.
He sets up the idea that she'll need to destroy the mainframe, sending commands to the chips, which we later find out as well, who's kind of turned into a head in a jar with one of Mr. House's helmets on, is basically her brain that's sending all the commands to all the chips. Presumably the Enclave is behind that. He literally takes her down there and shows her how to get in the door, and they start talking through how to actually blow the door down if she were to try to do that. Later her workaround is just to steal his Pip-Boy. Also love the funny daddy-daughter moment they have here where he's having the time of his life trying to explain golf to her so that she can understand golf carts. Because remember, she grew up in a vault, and apparently they didn't play golf in Vault 33. But this is basically him teaching her how to drive. I remember my dad, when I was a little kid, teaching me how to drive a golf cart, and it's just like this. It's almost a disaster. You're basically just trying to teach them how to not crash it. And she's actually right about the two pedals not totally making sense if you only ever need to use the one pedal. That's just meant to be a joke about letting off the gas so that friction will slow you down instead of using the actual brake to slow you down. You notice in the mainframe room more chipped workers doing support functions. The boxes all seem like records, maybe more finished chips. This is basically like 200 years worth of records too. She sees the Legionnaire who literally just tried to strangle her to death, now totally docile, cleaning floors. She mentions the Legion still being active and considers the chips might stop them from hurting more people. But I think at this point the idea is she's already leading him on. She's already trying to figure out a way to trick him so that she can shut him down. So if it wasn't clear, Lucy here has already decided to try and shut him down. She's just saying this to try and lead him on. Basically playing on his one weakness, which is his desire to be a happy family again with her. We go back to Cooper, Maximus, and Thaddeus, who arrive at an NCR base with cold fusion. Thaddeus tries to bond with Cooper over being ghouls, but I think they confirm at a couple different points in this episode that Thaddeus is definitely not turning into a ghoul. He's probably turning into a centaur, because later in the episode, his arm falls off, and each time Cooper gets more and more worried for him, like the face that he makes when he looks at him, especially when he sees the tiny little mouth on him, like, ooh, you are definitely not turning into a ghoul, buddy. Cannot wait to see if the show actually fully reveals this in the finale, or if they wait till season 3 to fully reveal him in centaur form. When Cooper explains his plan to them, it's meant to be a parallel for Lucy and Hank's planning scenes, like the exact same vibe. He plans to take cold fusion back to Mr. House in the Lucky 38 casino so that Mr. House can help him get his wife and daughter back, still assuming that they are in those cryotubes that has in Hank's bunker, but I think the big reveal is they probably won't be in there. We know that the Ghoul is supposed to come back during season 3, so it just feels like it's too easy that he would find them in there because this is the only thing that he wants. But the other part of the plan is that they need to get past the Deathclaws, and for that they need firepower, and there is a bunch here. He reveals he's no fool, and he's known the entire time here that Maximus has had cold fusion, and he planned to give it to Lucy because she'll know the right thing to do with it. But then getting to the title of the episode, the handoff, Maximus has to hand it off to Cooper in exchange for the help to get Lucy back. Then we flash back to New Vegas to explain how Cooper wound up giving cold fusion inadvertently to the Enclave through the US president in Welch. We get the big Steph reveal and how she weaseled her way into Vault Tech and into eventually Vault 31. Love the way this scene too, where she's basically taking Hank's passed out body back to his room, is that you have two different people that are lying to each other, like Cooper is lying about what happened and Steph is lying about what happened, and neither one knows the actual truth.
Do you know how I could get a job at Vault Tech?
We will see in present day if they ever wind up coming face to face again together, like, oh, I remember you from the casino. But remember, the whole point here of this part of the flashback is to explain how Steph got the job at Vault Tech. It was Hank that gave her a job. They kind of imply that Steph also lied to Hank about who she was when she got the job at Vault Tech, so Hank never knew that she was Canadian either. Cooper goes to the Atomic Wrangler in Freeside in the flashbacks to meet with Congressman Welch, and she sets up the idea of giving cold fusion to the president without completely letting on that she is Enclave, or there's some secret side plot going on here too. He also reveals that he bailed her out of jail, so I'm wondering now, because she's supposed to be Enclave, if this was all part of some secret plot for them to actually get their hands on cold fusion without letting on to Mr. House. Like, the whole idea is that the Enclave didn't want Mr. House to learn what they were doing, because Mr. House, when he's talking about the bombs to Cooper in the flashbacks, didn't know who the mystery other player was. Also remember the Wilzig flashback, the whole idea is the Enclave has been trying to keep itself a secret from everyone. Based on Fallout lore, the president that Clancy Brown is playing became part of the Enclave sometime or before his election. So I think the idea is that the Enclave put him in Las Vegas while this was going down because they knew that cold fusion was going to be here, because they're also pulling the strings on Vault Tech, so they knew that Vault Tech would be bringing cold fusion here to try and give it to Mr. House, so they were going to try and bogart it some way when this was all going down. We go back to present day for Cooper and the others getting their armor up montage. Very cool. All of these guns are meant to be guns from the game, as well as the NCR trooper armor. Then we go back to the Norm storyline in the Vault Tech headquarters and see the Vault 31 employees using bureaucracy to try and figure out how to deal with him. I love the way they're trying to justify killing him, like, well, if the manual says it's okay, then I guess it's okay to kill him. Then we go back to Vault 33 and we see the notice board. There's a couple Easter eggs here. Obviously, Chet and Steph's wedding announcement later in the day, but also there's a missing copy of Dean's electronics. In the game, that manual increases your repair ability permanently. The Ninja Flyer is also a perk in the game, plus 15 crit damage with melee or unarmed attacks, sneak attacks, and criticals also do 25% more damage. There are little Easter eggs like this from the game all over the vaults. Chet then finds Woody's glasses inside their sink, assuming Steph killed him or did something with him. She claims he was sent to Vault 31 as part of the leadership exchange program, but we know that that's not true because we just saw Norm escape Vault 31 with all the different Vault-Tec employees in their cryotubes, so Woody was nowhere in there. So we will see if there's some big Woody reveal at the end of the episode, or let me know if you think that he's actually dead. We have not actually seen a body, so you can't absolutely confirm death, but they're making it seem that they really want you to think that he's dead, so there might be a big reveal in episode 8. They really want you to think that Steph is a despicable person, but they use all the flashbacks to try and humanize her a little bit more, to explain why she's doing what she's doing, and that she's not evil in the way that the Vault-Tec employees or the company leaders or like the Enclave are evil. She's just trying to survive. So early theory would not be surprised if they wind up coming to some sort of arrangement and Betty takes pity on her and they all wind up helping each other. It would really go a long way to redeeming her if they reveal that Woody is still alive technically somewhere. Betty finally caves and gives Steph's Hank's secret box, the keepsake box, as a tray to get more water for Vault 32. We don't find out what's actually inside the box though, so you can let me know what you think is actually inside it. Inside Betty's office, Hank's old office, the picture that's covering up his secret vault is also from the games, and it is meant to be a cameo scene from Todd Howard. They trade more barbs, implying that there might be a potential civil war in the future over resources, another resource war between the vaults at some point. But I think the big reveal with her at the end of the episode where she gets trapped inside the overseer's room and the rest of the vault basically rebels against her, eventually she will have to come to terms with Betty and they'll start having to work together. We go back to Freeside and present day. Cooper, Maximus, and Thaddeus get a big hero montage walk-in, like a gunslinger western type of montage, walking down the street about to kick a whole bunch of butt. Brand recognition is meant to be a reference to the NCR armor because all the townspeople love the NCR and want them to save the town and get rid of the Deathclaws, which is meant to be undercut by Maximus's ending where it seems like one of the Deathclaws has him dead to rights and his armor is starting to malfunction. It would really help if Mr. House suddenly came back online and used cold fusion to power all of his weapons and Securitrons and use them to deal with the Deathclaws. Oh wait, Cooper just did that. He just reactivated Mr. House with the cold fusion. We get that funny moment of Thaddeus' arm falling off, which is another clue that he's not turning into a ghoul. Confirmation, I think, that he's turning into a centaur, both because ghouls heal and super mutants typically, like we've seen with Ron Perlman's cameo scene, have both arms as well too. So it just leaves centaur being the big theory. Inside the vault, Lucy puts the yellow dress on as part of her greater plan to try and continue tricking Hank so that her plan will succeed. In the comms room, we also pass by, we hear static, implying that the people on the other end are trying to communicate back with Hank. I think collectively we decided it's the Enclave on the other side of that radio. But because it is a global comms room, remember that Norm also uses the radio to try and communicate with Lucy from the Vault-Tec facility, so it's possible that Lucy also gets his communication from that room too. Hank then explains his beef with the NCR, the Legion, some of the other factions, thinking them all two sides of the same coin, poor organizations overall with bad tendencies, and he's not totally wrong. All the different organizations in Fallout, different factions, aren't perfect, but yes, some are much, much worse than others. The Legion, for example, is way more brutal than the NCR, even if the NCR isn't perfect, so Hank's explanation is overly simplistic. She tricks him, cuffs him to the stove, steals his Pip-Boy, and tries to use it to shut down the mainframe. We go back to Norm's storyline, and they confirm that Claudia is full Team Norm and helps him until they're caught by the rest of the Vault 31 people. What I think is going to happen with his message is that somewhere in the finale, Lucy will find out that he's still out there and he has escaped the Vault too, and it'll lead to eventual reunion with all those characters as well too. Like, you're wondering when Norm's storyline is going to meet up with Lucy's storyline. Even though it seems like the other Vault 31 Vault-Tec people have them dead to rights, they're all a bunch of idiots. I am not worried about Norm at all. Then at Steph and Chet's wedding, Chet declines to marry her because of all the secrets he learned, revealing everything to the crowd. And I love the funny way they reveal this too, in the idea that it's her being Canadian that winds up convincing everyone that she's terrible and he's telling the truth, not that she killed Woody. So in their eyes, being Canadian is worse than killing someone. Back in New Vegas, we get our big Deathclaw fight scene, and it's not much of a strategy. It's basically Maximus just firing everything he has at the Deathclaw with Cooper's help to try and distract it from Cooper long enough so that he can get through the doors of the Lucky 38 and give cold fusion to Mr. House. And if you couldn't tell, the Deathclaw here is eating another Deathclaw. Deathclaws are not picky eaters. Love the way they treat this like a gunslinger standoff too, but really it's more of like a gladiatorial fight, gladiatorial combat with them just hacking away at each other. Pretty much all the weapons that everybody uses in the show are based on weapons from the games. Maximus finally stops it by chopping its head off. That'll definitely do it, just as two more show up. And the whole reason why Cooper is able to get into the Lucky 38 in the first place, like access granted, is because Mr. House arranged for him to be let in. We get another flashback to Las Vegas to see Cooper handing off cold fusion to the president in Welch. We already explained that earlier. Like I said, Clancy Brown, Enclave at this point, meaning that Welch is also probably Enclave. Love the way they cut all the different ending scenes here too, like the present day Cooper with the flashbacks Cooper and Lucy's storyline in present day as well too, all parallel with each other. When he goes down to Mr. House's desk, zoom and enhance, notice there's a Hoover Dam reference. Everybody was freaking out about this. If you've not played the games, it's a really big location in the games where a couple big battles go down. Cooper then activates Mr. House's device and sees the return version of him inside his computer. It looks like it's right out of the New Vegas video game.
Well, hello, old chum.
Lucy opens the door in the basement of the vault and finds out that it's the Congressman Welch's head that's been used to power the device that Hank has been using, sending the commands to the chips. Normally you'd think being Enclave would save you from a fate like this, but hopefully they'll have another flashback to explain how this happened to her in the past. My assumption is the reason why she's wearing Mr. House's helmet is because Mr. House would develop technology for Vault Tech without knowing that secretly it was actually being used by the Enclave. So like a lot of things that Vault Tech was asking Mr. House to do were actually the Enclave making Vault Tech do this so that they wouldn't figure it out. So I think the other confirmation here is that the plan to chip up the entire world and control the world that way is actually the Enclave's plan, and Hank was communicating with them and he wants the promotion inside their organization. So in the past, it was the Enclave trying to get Mr. House to create the chips using Vault Tech as a shell company, as a front, basically. Now you wonder, though, what Mr. House is going to do now that he has cold fusion. First, he's probably going to power up all of his weapons and technology and probably deal with the Deathclaws. That's probably the solution for Maximus. But also remember, in present day now, there's probably no mystery when it comes to the Enclave. Mr. House will have figured out, or Cooper will tell him, that it's the Enclave who was the mystery villain that he couldn't figure out in the past, that he didn't know about, that was pulling all these strings. So we will see if Mr. House winds up being one of the good guys and helping Cooper in the finale. But I think anything that happens in the finale is really just going to push into a bigger Enclave reveal and into Season 3 so that the Enclave become like the big overarching villains of Season 3. Then this time, the end credits are at the Canadian border because of Steph's backstory in the episode. The graffiti Little America, the Big 51, are also references to the games. Eventually, the US starts calling Canada the Big 51 in Little America because of what happens with the resource wars. Generally, heading into the finale, some of the storylines that I'm hoping that they wrap up, and obviously spilling into Season 3, is what is Mr. House going to do about the big reveal of the Enclave? Will he help move against them? Will something happen to Mr. House in the finale, and what'll happen to him in future seasons of the show going forward after this, because now he does have cold fusion? Theoretically, he could live forever now in this digital form. Technically, the way he explained it, non-biological life, he was basically describing AI. Mr. House is an AI version of the original Mr. House now. And are they trying to set up the return of John Henry Eden, which is another form of what's happening with Mr. House right now on the show? If you didn't play the game, John Henry Eden is an Enclave Advanced ZAX AI unit installed in the Raven Rock military complex northwest of Washington, D.C., and basically assumed control of the Enclave eventually. Then proclaimed itself president of the United States after the fall of the oil rig, another big Enclave location. We'll probably see that either in a teaser in the finale or in Season 3 in some reference, just because it seems like Season 3 will be heavy Enclave story. They've been bringing so much stuff back from the games, it's possible that they bring back a version of John Henry Eden. We'll see about that. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below, and if you spotted any Easter eggs or references for the games that I didn't talk about during the video, just write them below in the comments. My Episode 8 finale video will post next week after they release it, and what'll probably happen is that after the actual finale airs, they'll probably start talking more about Season 3 because they'll be filming that pretty soon, and it does seem like they have been setting the Enclave up as a much bigger villain again during Season 3. Make sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that video. There's a bunch of other stuff happening this week too. We also have Wonder Man episodes. My video for that will post next, so look out for that. Everybody click here for that video, and everybody click here for all my Fallout episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.